Welcome back to Advanced Facebook Advertising. This is Module 2. So in Module 2, we'll be going through the hierarchies, funnels, and the campaigns. So we first want to map out the campaign strategy, budget, assets, and the audience month over month. We want to go through the awareness, the conversion, and awareness, consideration, and conversion. These are all steps in the customer journey, and we really want to understand these as much as we can. From there, we'll be going in, we'll be building our funnel of exceptionally effective ad sets and assets to take our prospects from cold leads to hot buyers. We want to go through the CPC, CPM, and CPA, the proven methodologies of bidding to maximize our budgets. Then we'll be looking at different available ad types for our campaigns. So it's one thing to create Facebook campaigns. It's another one it's an entirely different process to create engaging content. I see this time and time again of people just wanting to run campaigns because they think people are going to resonate with the campaign without thinking about the content that's needed to make these people engage to what we're trying to sell them. So one of the best ways to ensure we're creating relevant and engaging ad campaigns is to plan ahead. A prime example of this is you'll not believe how many advertisers come up to us in November, especially late November, asking us to create a Christmas campaign for them in 1 or 2 weeks and start selling right then. Well, first off, if it's the end of November, a lot of people have already bought their Christmas gifts, especially the big ones that we're trying to get the most revenue out of. And it just leads to us rushing and hurrying and not creating this engaging content that we'd like to. So creating these ad hoc campaigns can really lead to untargeted content and bloated campaign costs. Instead of spending 50 cents to get this person with the right ad, we're now spending $1.50 or more just to get to them and trying to make them interested. Sometimes they're just not interested at all with some of this content we're creating, and it can just become a not ideal scenario. So first, we really want to understand the customer journey. Before we can map out our advertising content and timelines, we need to look at the customer journey and what we're trying to achieve with our Facebook ad campaigns. So I'm sure you guys are aware of models like this. I do like the AIDA model, AIDA model the best. There are sometimes 3 steps, sometimes 4, sometimes 5, so on and so forth. If you have your own model that you like to look at and you like to compare your funnel to, so be it. It is fine. I've seen some people with only a 2-step model. I've seen some people with a 10-step model. It really depends on the product, the service, and the industry that we're looking at. So understanding our customer journey is the first step to delivering quality Facebook advertising campaigns. After we understand where the customer is on their purchase journey, we can evaluate the best message to get to them, the right ad types to serve them, and we can get them through the sales funnel. This is also very important to know. Not everyone's in the same step. Unless you just created a business yesterday or today and you start trying to advertise. But realistically, even then, there's going to be people in different sales funnels. People that are familiar with you, people that you've been talking to, they might be more into that interest and decision factor, whereas the cold audiences are into the awareness factor. So the first step in our funnel is the awareness funnel. Everyone has to enter the funnel somehow through the awareness. Whether it be people that we know personally, that is through word of mouth, or they saw a Facebook ad, they saw a TV ad, or they heard a radio ad. Any one of these mediums is great at getting people into that awareness phase. So if we have a customer who's in the awareness stage of our funnel, this means that they don't really know who we are, and they don't really know anything about our company. Once we get them into that awareness phase, they should start getting a little bit of our, like a little bit taste of our brand and what we are and what we do. Our goal here is to really get customers to be aware of who we are and then move them through the interest stage. You might want to create custom audiences based on demographics here and focus on those high frequency ads to promote our businesses. The message here is definitely less of a focus on specific products or services, and it really should be focusing on your brand identity. A good example, without getting too carried away here, is an optometrist that I know. An optometrist that I know actually went viral on Facebook because in their awareness stage, their awareness content in that stage was essentially them creating a 1-minute video that was filmed Let's see if I can do this. That was filmed just like this with a camera, selfie mode and everything. And he essentially, with a steady arm, provided a 1-minute video into the story on why he created his optometrist, his eye doctor, his eye clinic. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with that word, so I'll try and avoid it as best as possible. He essentially said that he became an eye doctor because his dad lost his eyesight when he was young. And that impact of his dad losing his eyesight when he was about 10 years old really changed the roles of the family and what was going on in the household. His dad all of a sudden wasn't able to do some of the tasks that he was able to do, and he had to step up and really show that he could be, you know, basically a father figure in doing stuff while allowing his dad to rest, because it just wasn't fair to his dad without the eyesight. What this meant to him as a person was that he took that to his heart, and he realized that no matter what is out there, he wants to try and stop and minimize these diseases or these infections that cause people to stop losing their eyes. So he wanted to become an optometrist. So that's the thing, is that this whole 1-minute video, I'm sure it took me more than a minute to explain it there, but this entire 1-minute video was the story on why he created the product or the service, the optometrist. It wasn't anything to do with his, you know, come talk to us for a free consultation. You know, oh, I package for $1 or $1.99 a month or something like that. There's nothing about sales. There's nothing about price. There wasn't even anything about services. All it was, hey, this happened in my life, so I wanted to create an eye clinic for this. The clever thing here was that anyone who watched these videos and completed a certain amount of it, I believe it was over 50%. So if you watch more than 30 seconds of the video, all of a sudden we create a custom audience that was targeting you and getting you into that interest phase. So at the interest stage, we're really just start moving more and more into those promotion of the products and the services. So this person, if you watch the 1-minute video or 30 seconds of the 1-minute video, all of a sudden you start getting a single image ad, essentially a picture ad on Facebook, talking about if you're interested in taking care of your eye health, come in for a free consultation today. The awareness phase didn't have anything about this, but once you're engaged, all of a sudden he kind of did the 1-2 punch and got you with a free consultation right there. So this might have came from either creating lookalike audiences or going through that pixel traffic and the website to target these people. I do highly suggest going after the pixel traffic and website traffic first. Then once we really maximize all those existing audiences on our website, then go after the lookalike audiences. Lookalike audiences are going to be better than the awareness funnel for efficiencies and getting cost per conversion, but it still isn't on average isn't matched for website custom audiences or the pixel data. So those people who watch the 30-second videos and it was reserved with an ad, that's through the pixel itself. So once people are aware of us, and we want them to use our ad, we want to use our ads to sell them on our brand, showcase the features, tell them the benefits, as well as any sales that are going on. We really want to make sure that this is really delivering that message of something that sets us apart from our competition. So it really takes time to think about what these are that can change us from our competitors. So at the decision factor, sometimes I kind of do the interest and decision together, depending on how hard the product is to buy or sell. But at the decision factor, they've already shown interest in our brand and they're visiting our website or engaging with our ads. This could be also that they're subscribed to a newsletter of ours, or they're subscribed to, they like our Facebook page, so they keep looking at all our content, but they just haven't bought yet. Something like this, for instance, I could see being like, you know, a software. For instance, one that I've been getting into for photography is Photoshop. I haven't bought Photoshop yet, but I keep looking at the Photoshop tutorials. I keep looking at the how-tos and the tips. So I keep getting remarketed with Photoshop of trying to give me these free trials and these incentives because they see me at that interest phase and they really want me to get down to decision with the free trial, then buy hopefully with the action. So we really want to now offer sales or incentives or anything that really gives us that push. classic push marketing. We really want to make sure that we're getting them to make a decision and completing the conversion and buying from us, getting that revenue out there. So by creating custom audiences, this group can be targeted specifically to customers who've shown interest in specific products or previous posts that we've been targeting, and we can really serve them up with that ad again. A good example of this is like, let's say a retailer like Walmart. I keep looking at Walmart barbecues and I keep looking, summer's coming, I might want to buy a barbecue. Walmart shouldn't necessarily just show me an ad that says, come shop at Walmart. They should be showing me something about barbecue seasons here, buy your barbecues now, save 20% on barbecues. Really get me down there, get that promotion going. Even if you don't have, like, so for instance, Walmart, sometimes they don't have great sales. Their classic push is barbecues, everyday low price. So that way, not necessarily it's a promotion. They're not trying to axe the price, but they're really just trying to enforce everyday low price. Then our last step in the funnel is the action stage. So if they've reached the action stage, we've essentially moved them through the sales funnel and they completed, they're good. So now you might be thinking, okay, well, now we want to ignore them, keep going to the awareness phase and keep doing the cycle over and over again. This isn't necessarily the case. Since these people have moved through the funnel, they already know who we are, they've already bought from us. Hopefully if our product's great quality, which it should be, they love it and they've been raving about it. This means essentially we can start creating retargeting ads towards these people. We can give them either perks for being returning customers. We can give them new seasons if we're talking about clothing, or maybe a new product that we have. Hey, this is a new product that has more features out there. Maybe you might be interested in this. We can also cross-sell these people. This is one that I can't stress enough, is I find many people are constantly talking and showing. They're talking about getting new customers without thinking about getting old customers, and especially cross-selling. Cross-selling and upselling is the best place to do this. I highly recommend that if someone, for instance, just because I've been talking about barbecues, shout out to a Calgary location, Barbecue Galore. I went to Barbecue Galore and I bought a barbecue for my backyard. Well, all of a sudden, now I'm looking at recipes. I'm looking at cool tools that I can be using with this barbecue. If I'm searching or if I'm on Facebook, Barbecue Galore should be essentially retargeting with me, like, hey Dan, how is your barbecue? Are you liking it? Maybe you should buy these accessories to up your barbecue game even more, so on and so forth. Maybe if they even see that I have enough income, which you can look at through percentages, not my exact income, maybe they might want to cross-sell or upsell me, like, hey Dan, I saw you bought a new barbecue. Maybe a new smoker would be good right beside it, so on and so forth. Well, maybe they just got an extra $1,000 out of me with a $5 ad. We don't know, and but usually that is what happens, especially with me, especially with my Amazon and my barbecue and my cross-selling and upselling habits. I tend to be one of the biggest suckers for this area. And if you start thinking about it yourself, you might also be in this with certain brands. There's certain brands that we love that we just keep buying over and over and over again. And you might see that a lot of this is actually in that action phase, that they just keep serving us with new product and new headlines and new information. The 80-20 rule, I cannot stress this enough, but the 80-20 rule, it states that 80% of our business comes from 20% of our customers. So if we look at that action funnel or that action stage and we basically say, oh, they've already bought from us, let's ignore them, we're essentially just using our dollars to target the people that might have the lowest investment on for us. Another argument with this is some people say, oh, well, they already bought from us, they should organically buy from us again. A good example of this is that barbecue. If I bought a barbecue from you, but I don't realize that you have great appliances or you don't have like great, I don't realize that you have the certain specific appliances that I want. If I don't know that, I might not go to your store. I might buy from someone else, especially if someone else is showing up in my newsfeed already. I might buy from them because they have my awareness and they have my mind and everything right there, right now. I'm not thinking about the competitors. Sometimes this could be, one of those quick minute buys. Instead of dumping a massive budget into our campaign efforts, we can really go after these customers who aren't engaging with our business, and we can get those efficient dollars by re-engaging with these users and getting basically building us better conversions. The way I like to segment my audiences into 3 different types. We can categorize these into hot audiences, warm audiences, and cold audiences. Now, this is a little bit confusing for some advertisers because sometimes in a specific audience or a specific industry, a hot audience might not be the same in a different audience or in a different industry. Let me try and explain that a lot better. So an education client, for instance, I have an education client that when we do lookalike audiences, I would consider it cold, because essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to target people, oh, you might be interested in business. Well, it's very broad to target. So these lookalike audiences tend to be more of a cold audience, and they're not as resonating as what other industries are. Once I go into a tourism industry, for instance, and I target these lookalike users, I find more than not, they're warm audiences. If not, they might sometimes actually be hot audiences. Sometimes they're travel addicts and they have that travel bug. As soon as they see a new place to travel that they haven't seen before, all of a sudden their mind just essentially explodes and they become a hot audience. And I've seen this a lot with tourism clients. So I will give examples on what audience, like what specific audiences could be, but take this with a grain of salt. Once you start running them, you might not see that they do the same for you. So hot audience, these are audiences who've already purchased from us. They show high intent. They're always engaging with us, and they're always basically raving about us and commenting and sharing and liking our posts. These are essentially the least expensive audience to reach for us because they're the most likely to engage with us again. Warm audiences are people who already know who we are, and they visited our site once or twice. They maybe liked a social post. They've liked our Facebook page, but they're not highly engaged all the time. And they really haven't taken any bigger steps to engage with us. These are warm audiences. These are people who we can really try and just sway and get them to finally jump on board of the hot audiences, get them to finally purchase or engage with us. A cold audience is the hard one. This is essentially the cold calling. We're going after a completely new audience who's never really heard of us, or if they have heard of us, they really haven't shown any interest in the past. This is also the most expensive group to get after, and but often important. It's the most expensive to target and reach, as well as get conversions from them, because essentially they got to follow through all those stages of the funnel, whereas the hot and warm are essentially halfway down that funnel already. So a custom audience is a perfect example of what a hot lead would be. So these are people who have already had a relationship with our business. They've given us data on them from existing platforms or websites. So this could be a customer file, for instance. This could be website activity. You know, we see that they keep purchasing from us. We target anyone who's purchased in the last 30 days. As well as if we have an app, if people are doing, so we can track specific places in an app. Let's say we have a game, for instance, that goes up to level 10. If people are level 8 and they're almost at level 10, for instance, they're in that last bit of it, we know these people are super engaged with us and they've been spending a lot of time. We can retarget those people as well. A lookalike audience is a good example of a warm lead for certain industries. This really allows us to reach new people who are likely to be interested in our business, but they don't really know who our business is yet. That's kind of why they're warm. The data shows us that they should be buying and that should be engaged with us, but they really don't know who we are yet. So they're still kind of in that awareness funnel, but they're going to be a lot easier to push down. This is the perfect example with the 18, 24-year-old females that all have the affinity to like Starbucks. As soon as we can kind of target them again, it's super easy for us to try and find these similar interests and similar likes. A saved audience is a perfect example of cold leads. So these are audiences that we basically we base them off our demographics, so our ages, our genders, as well as just kind of the overall interests. Please be aware that interest isn't the best way to target. I personally don't like to target interest unless I have nothing else to go off of. The reason why is because interests are We could be talking about them. I could have liked a post that was talking about that specific interest. Or I went to a website that somehow that talked about it, that I wasn't really engaged with too much. Facebook can catalog that as me being interested in it. So a few good examples of these is, for instance, me being a social media specialist and advertiser. I'm looking up new platforms every day. I went in and I looked at one called TikTok. I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with it, but it's basically kind of this like DIY, create your own little music video platform. While I was looking at it, I was looking at any advertising opportunities and so on and so forth. Next thing you know, in the next week, I went over to my interests in Facebook. In your settings, in ads privacy, I believe it's called off the top of my head, it will show you a list of all the interests and ads that you've actually clicked on and liked and so on and so forth. If you look into that interest, it told me that I actually liked Kesha, because Kesha has a song called TikTok. So it had Kesha right here and it had TikTok with the album of Kesha, not the actual app. And so Facebook was actually a little bit behind in being able to identify, oh no, this is a new app or a social platform coming out. So anyone that was, for instance, advertising, hey, these people, target anyone that likes Kesha, I, for instance, could have been involved in it. And I can probably guarantee you I'm not buying any Kesha albums. So for this exercise, we'll be going through, and in each stage of the funnel, so in the awareness funnel, we want to get an audience group that we can think of that we want to target with. So let's say this are our newsletter subscribers. And what's the messaging goal that we want to get to them? Sorry, I totally messed that up. The newsletter subscribers should be done in action, not awareness. Awareness, for instance, could just be, you know, hey, a lookalike of my current audience, a lookalike of my current buyers. I just want to let them know who we are first and just start going down the funnel from there. So one of the most difficult parts of optimizing Facebook campaigns is really knowing how much to spend. There is two ways to go after this. There is a way to basically go out with the shotgun approach, start with a lot of dollars and go out wide and kind of just do the spray and see who reacts to what we're marketing, and then basically react to them and just start filling in and kind of targeting and tweaking our campaigns that way. Another way, which I prefer, is more of the rifle approach. Start small, start with a core audience that we know is going to work best for us, get the efficient results that we want, and then slowly start expanding there. I find if we do it the other way and we start doing with the shotgun approach, we want to spend $10,000 right off the bat. We just want to target everyone and then see who reacts. The thing is, we're going to waste a lot of dollars doing that, and we might not see the results. So there is this ratio and this balance point. We don't want to underspend and miss out on potential customers, but we also don't want to overspend and not see the results from what you're spending. So how much do ads cost? So there's many factors into how a Facebook ads can cost. The time of year, so if it's Black Friday, for instance, we're going to pay a lot more just for being on the feed compared to some, let's say, an average Monday or Tuesday. Especially Monday at 2 a.m. versus Monday at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. is going to be a lot more in demand. Everyone's getting off work. We're now checking our phones. We're checking our social media, trying to catch up on what friends and family are doing. Compared to 2 a.m., hopefully we're all asleep, getting good night rest to start optimizing campaigns the next day. The same thing happens too is it's kind of interesting on Facebook and social media in general. I will say this is social media in general. It's basically a battlefield on that newsfeed. Every competitor, every customer, every business, everyone's competing to go on the same newsfeed. What I mean even by customer is that these customers are posting their own information, and they're basically trying to get it over, and they're basically trying to fill up the newsfeed as well with family and friends and family kind of content. We're trying to get in there with advertising, and every advertiser competes against each other. So the Walmart versus the social school, we're actually going to be on both the same newsfeed. And if we want to target the same person, we will actually be competing against each other, even though we're in different industries, different verticals, and we're trying to sell something different. Maybe Walmart's trying to sell a $5 Toothpaste to us, while at social school we're trying to sell some course registrations. Our bidding strategy will also change this pretty drastically. So for instance, if we want to say our campaign objectives conversions, it's going to take cost per click and other metrics, and it's going to essentially throw it out the window. It's going to charge us more to get that one conversion that's going to be more valuable, compared to if we're just doing a bidding strategy around we want to get the most clicks as possible. This will have very cheap cost per click, but more times than not, the click quality is not the same as the higher cost per click. Different ad placements also have different costs. So the biggest one that I can tell you, the biggest differential is the feed itself. This is where every advertiser wants to be. This is single-handedly the most, the highest costing for advertisers to go. The second highest costing one is going to be stories. Stories have been coming out pretty crazy. It's been coming out with a big bang, I guess you could say, in the last year. It's really been exploding. This is going to have the second highest cost. Why? It's because every advertiser wants to be on there. We see that every user wants to be posting on there as well. We can see that they're being in high use. The Facebook right column, so this only appears when you're on desktop, and it'll be a small right column square image. I believe it's a 50, it's like 100 by 100 pixel kind of image. It's very small. It's very hard to see. This is going to be the cheapest placement for us, because not a lot of advertisers are on there, and not a lot of people are on desktop anymore. I believe the last time I looked, it was about 90% of all Facebook traffic is from mobile apps and mobile. It's not from desktop. So 10% of all our audience is on desktop. That's kind of a broad range. This is just what I see with our clients. But that means only 1 in 10 people are actually going to be on the desktop, compared to 9 in 10 are going to be on mobile. That mobile is going to be higher costing than the desktop. Relevance score is also huge. They have broken this down into 3 different pieces now. So there's an ad relevance and engagement kind of metric. If people aren't clicking and people aren't engaging with your ads, that shows Facebook that you have a higher, or that the engagement is going to be lower and the relevance is lower, and Facebook's actually going to increase the charging. So if you want to keep serving your ads out to the same audience that might not be engaging as much, you're going to be paying more than the advertiser who has a better relevance than our ads. And then audience. If we're trying to target an audience that more advertisers are trying to go after, it's going to cost us more money. A prime example of this is if we're trying to go after those high-level executives with a lot of income and so on and so forth. A lot of people are still trying to target these people too, because they're the ones who can give us the most revenue. It's going to be a higher cost for us compared to if we're targeting someone else that has a lower income, a lower affinity. Maybe they're in a different country that a lot of people aren't advertising in. This is all factors that can happen. So the 3 different types of bidding. So there's cost per mil. So this is CPM. In Latin, mil means 1,000. So this is a common method of measurement in advertising, where advertisers pay for a set price of 1,000 views or ad impressions. If we start bidding on conversions, for instance, our bidding will be on CPM as well, because it's an easier way for Facebook to kind of to optimize. As simply put, it's the best way for Facebook to optimize, compared to trying to correlate a cost per click and a cost per conversion together. So a CPC, going into it, cost per click, CPC, this is the price an advertiser pays a publisher when someone clicks on our ad. This is how most advertisers pay for their Facebook ads. And this is the most common method when we're trying to use traffic objective and objectives so like that. I do highly recommend that when you are first starting out to use that cost per click. That way you know how much you're paying. If you set it to, I only want to pay $1 cost per click, you're going to pay $1 or less. On the CPM or the CPA, for instance, that cost per click can vary quite a bit. Going into the CPA, so cost per action, CPA, this is going into conversions. So think of the A. The A can change a lot. It can be cost per conversion, cost per lead, cost per action, cost per purchase. Really, this allows us to look into what a customer is doing, it allows us to look at what they're doing beyond just clicking on our ad. It allows us to look into, hey, this user clicked on our ad and went to our website and then completed a specific action. such as buying something, filling out a form, filling out a lead, so on and so forth. So you can choose to set your own bid or allow Facebook to optimize your bid for you. I do highly recommend to kind of set that lowest cost with a certain bid cap. That way, Facebook's not all of a sudden going to think that you're fine paying, you know, $5 cost per click or $6 cost per click. It really sets Facebook with a limit of how much it can go up to. If it cannot get you results that are under that limit, so let's say it's $1. So if it cannot get us any performance that's under $1, it will just stop serving our campaign. Now, I prefer to actually have it stop serving our campaign than get the cost to go up without us watching it, and all of a sudden we're paying a lot more than what we initially thought. So CPC is a good option for when you're first starting out, as click-through rate, CTR, for Facebook ads is higher, and paying for clicks is ultimately cheaper than if you were to pay, you know, for CPM, for instance. If you're essentially if you're on CPM and you'll see that if you pay for CPM and it's a $4 cost per mil, for instance, sometimes the CTR can be a lot lower, and then that way you're not getting as many clicks with that $4 as you would be if you're on CPC. I know this sounds a little confusing, but test it out and see what results you get with your own campaigns. I do, for instance, run some on CPC and CPM together, or sorry, side by side, and really just analyze the results of what's going on. Whatever one is cost me more money, I simply will pause and just go forward with what's working. Depending on our ads performance, we might want to switch our Facebook bid from CPC to CPM halfway through. Especially if we have a high click-through rate, we might want to do this sooner than later. So we always want to make sure to measure our impressions and our clicks. And if impressions on our ads increases and the clicks decrease, our cost will increase, and you may want to switch to CPC. So it's a good idea to continually track our costs, especially when we have multiple campaigns going. For instance, this is a good look at how we kind of structure our 2018 budget between not only just Facebook ads, but between all locations, as well as Google and AdWords, for instance. If you don't really know where to start and you don't have a monthly budget, I do highly recommend this to start with $1 a day per audience group. This way you get to see what kind of starts serving, and you're only risking essentially $1 to $5 if you have 5 audiences, and we can see what's going on. With the $1 a day, I will be honest, sometimes you might need to increase it a bit more depending on the industry. So if we're in financial services, we're a lawyer, so on and so forth, it might cost more than $1 to reach our audience. So you might want to increase that to $5 a day, for instance. The $1 a day is great for content marketing, tourism, travel, education. I can still do a $1 an audience a day. Retail audiences I can do, home builders I can do. I can do a lot with that $1 a day. Usually my cost per clicks, for instance, are about 50 cents. This means I get 2 clicks per audience per day just to start out with. Once I see that's getting good results, I'll just kind of put on 20% extra budget and just keep feeding the algorithm, keep feeding those efficiencies, and just let it kind of amplify itself. So this is exercise 2. Go and map out your paid advertising budget. It's really good to kind of just track it down, kind of put down the, so for instance, you can see that we have Facebook and Instagram, our ad campaign 1. Put down all the campaigns you want to run. I do suggest throughout the full year and really just track it all. Once you get those costs and you start creating multiple campaigns, you can start making these decisions on, hey, we might have a lot of campaigns with small dollars. Maybe we might want to amalgamate 2 campaigns together, double that budget, and get more efficiencies out of it. All right, now we're on to ad types. So having a variety of ad types in our Facebook campaigns can provide diversity for our audience and encourage engagement in different ways. A good example of this, for instance, is myself. I actually am not a big fan of video content, where I find a lot of other people are fans of video content. For me, for instance, I do like things like Canvas and carousel images where I can scroll through with them, and I like to interact with them. Having this kind of collection in all of your, I guess like having a diversity of images allows us to get over a diversity of ad types. I shouldn't say images, some of them are video. Allows us to get after the most amount of people who might have different desires and different preferences to ads. So there are a few different ads that we can go through. The first one we want to go through is the single image video. So this allows us to show off product features, draw people in with the motion and the sound, but please be careful with this. I believe it's something around 98% of all viewers of ads do not put the volume on. So I do like still having that motion in there and the sound, but please make sure that you're putting captions into your video, as well as that the video can make sense without sound on. I see this a few times where people are getting, testimonials and people talking, and it'll essentially be, I can try and do this as best I can. They'll get the one person like me sitting there, the logo right here, and it's just me talking about the brand. So for instance, I got a Samsung TV in front of me. I'll be talking about how good Samsung is. But if the volume's not on, all you're seeing is me talking, and you see a logo, and that's it. You don't really get any kind of idea of what the video is talking about, and you'll see the engagement plummet. You can see, for instance, with Final Fantasy, a good way that they're trying to do this is that if I click play on the video, this, not caption, quote from the US Gamer, a revolution that lives up to the Final Fantasy name. That's going to be flying through the first kind of frame, and it's going to be coming towards us. Yes, we might be not looking at the sound, but that gives us information and context into what's going on. So image ads. Image ads are the #1 ad that you'll see on Facebook today. So this really does the most efficient job at driving people to destination websites or apps through high quality visuals. You get a nice little call to action button, the headline, and then the image of what's going on. I do highly recommend to create your images with some kind of text to call it what is going on, especially if it's a promotion, a giveaway, or a sale. You really want to make sure there's some text in the image to give that user a kind of like an in your face with the image. A lot of people, for instance, do see the image first compared to the body copy or the headline. So lead ads are a new thing. I shouldn't say new. For me, it feels like they're new, but they're not that new. These have been around for about 2 years, and they just keep getting better and better with their integrations, the ability to change them, and so on and so forth. So a lot of advertisers find that there's issues of trying to get people to go to the website. So if you have a slow loading website, for instance, it can take about a minimum of about 7 seconds to get someone from the Facebook platform to your website. If your website's not mobile friendly and they're on a mobile device, there might be some issues there. Sometimes they're not the cleanest. So with a lead gen ad, what it allows us to do is basically kind of highlight what we want them to do. So the 2015 Range Rover Evoque, take on the mountings and get your quote today. Once you click on the get your quote today, we can select the fields of information that we're sending over to, that we're getting the consumer to send to us. And if any of this is in their profile, it'll automatically put it into the lead gen form. So if we ask for their name, that'll automatically be pulled in. If we ask for their email and their email is not, private, like it's showing on their Facebook page, it'll automatically put it there. And the number of fields and possibilities is endless. You can make custom questions. So a good custom question is on the end here. When do you plan on purchasing? So for instance, if this user puts in 3 to 6 months, this gives Range Rover a good idea to call them in 3 or 6 months, or to maybe set them up with a brochure, so on and so forth, to try and get them to persuade from 3 to 6 months, maybe a little bit shorter. At the end of the day, At the end of the day, lead gen ads are really efficient at getting leads for customers and businesses without making people going to your website and so on and so forth. So collection ads is a really cool tactic. I find myself to be really engaged with these. It gets me to kind of shop like basically a website retail store without being on the website. But it essentially allows users and advertisers to encourage shopping by displaying items from our product catalog, and customizing them for each individual. For instance, this Dollar Shave Club ad is basically going to be a video on top talking about the razor itself. And then on the bottom is going to be more add-ons. So this is the razor blade handle that you can get. These are the upgraded blades they can get. There's another handle, and then these are more blades packaging. A better example of this that I should really replace this image with is something like Adidas. Adidas might know that I'm into running, and they might show me some running clothes. But the first image up here might be, a man running, and maybe I don't like the red top and black shorts. But all of a sudden down here, I see something more colorful and more bright. My favorite color is purple, for instance. So if I see a purple shirt here, once I click onto it, it kind of brings up a whole catalog of all these products. If I click again on that same product, it goes to the website and will basically be on that product page with the add to cart right there. Super easy for retail clients to basically maximize return on investment by getting people to shop on the website, shop on the platform. And once they're ready to buy, they go to the website right to the specific products. Carousel ads, like I mentioned, these are one of my favorites. They really allow us to show up to 10 images or videos with a single ad. Each one can have its own link as well. So if we want to start sending people off to different places, we can totally do that. The hardest thing I find for this is I find a lot of advertisers like carousel, and then they try and force their content into carousel placements. It really isn't meant to do that, and it's not really meant to fold it that way. A perfect example of this, for instance, I can think of is a hotel client. A hotel, not my client, hotels in general. I find a lot of hotels, for instance, they'll be having carousels about rooms, and they basically have to say on the bottom on the headline, they're trying to find 5 or 6 different ways to bring up double standard rooms and, super cozy for the night, a luxurious downtown dream. You won't believe how comfy our beds are. And you'll just start seeing that the creative concept just starts dying with each headline. You really want to make sure that it makes sense for the product. So this photo source ad, for instance, is one of my favorite. Again, I'm into photography, so this really did capture my eyes. What they did was they're talking about these bundles and these sales and the kits that go on. So the first image is the camera itself, and then the next one is the lens that comes with the kit. And once you start clicking on next, there's more accessories, more bundles. Then the last image, I kind of wish I regret not highlighting the last image. The last image also brought up like their warranty information, their customer service. So that would really kind of make you comfortable to buy. Once you click on there, once you click on learn more, you go right to that product page, boom, you're ready to buy right there. So slideshow ads have been a tougher one for advertisers to get a hold of. The reason why is because they're not really a video ad, they're not really an image ad. You're taking a few different images together. So for instance, with Skip the Dishes, what they did is they just grabbed 4 or 5 different Swiss Chalet images. And what they're doing is they're just kind of rotating them on like kind of like a Microsoft slideshow, I guess is the best way to put it. So it's kind of like a hybrid between images and video. I do highly suggest to test these out if you have if you have image and lots of image, but you don't have any video assets, or you can afford to invest in video. Video does take a lot to create and kind of get that content rolling. So sometimes this is more of an efficient result for us. Facebook Canvas. This is another one that I kind of mentioned before. The Facebook Canvas is essentially grabbing a micro site and putting it right onto Facebook. So again, like I said, is Facebook averages about 7 seconds for a consumer to click on an ad and go to the website. There's many factors to this, different platforms. So you're leaving Facebook, then Facebook has to call the website. There's sometimes not everyone's on Wi-Fi. Someone can be on the subway or so on and so forth. They're in an elevator. They got low bars. They're between the downtown buildings. There's numerous different reasons why people don't have the best Wi-Fi or all 5 bars. Even if you have a good website, or sorry, even if people have good connection, maybe your website is not mobile optimized. So once they click on that link and that URL, then it takes them a while to load. This is preloaded into Facebook and allows the user to basically click on the Learn More button. Once they click on the Learn More, all of a sudden they're given this full screen microsite for your business. So this Jeep one, for instance, is more of awareness, top of funnel, and it's actually pretty interactive. So once you click play, it kind of just shows you the Jeeps kind of driving through, and one's in the city, one's on the trail. Once you click on the left side of this, it brings you to a full new canvas that just explains the Grand Cherokee Summit version. Whereas if I clicked on the right, all of a sudden it goes to the Trailhawk. It starts giving me information around off-roading and go find your perfect campsite, get away from people, go into nature, so on and so forth. The messaging is different. This time style is a different version. There is different kind of templates and layouts. This one's much more text focused. And so essentially what can happen here is it's going to be more talking about the brand themselves and what they do. There's a video on top that kind of will be an introduction. And then really they just want you to click on this call to action button and go to the website. Okay, we've learned more about time style. We know who they are. Click, let's go over the reviews. Perfect kind of microsite and what they're trying to get done for that kind of middle to top funnel. And then ad placements. So ad placements, as you can see by the list, it's a whole bunch of ad placements. So when you create your ads, you have the option of automatic placements, where Facebook places your ad on Facebook, Instagram, Audience Network, and Messenger. And we'll basically just kind of find where that audience is, and we'll kind of start serving your ad there. Sometimes I don't like this because, well, first, there's some places that I don't like to show up on. For instance, sometimes I'm not a big fan of the Audience Network, or sometimes I take away the Instagram because I'm trying to go after a specific audience that I find gets more revenue off Facebook. You'll find that there's many, many different versions of this. Same with if we're trying to run a video and we want people to, click on the video and go to our website more than just watch the video and keep on with their day. Maybe something like in-stream videos and suggested videos isn't the best for us. Maybe we should just stick that video into the feed placement. So I do highly recommend to kind of keep that automatic placement on first. See what the algorithm is doing for it. And once you start running these, go into the breakdown and start seeing what platform they're serving on. More often than not, especially for click volume and so on and so forth, Facebook will be that platform. But sometimes there will be anomalies, like it's serving more on Instagram, even though the performance is better on Facebook. So in terms of being more of an advanced marketer myself, I do prefer to kind of keep control on. I like to control them more than kind of letting it up to automatic placements. So what ad is best? So it's really hard to kind of say right off the top of my head what works best for every industry. The best recommendation I can say for this is to start off with a single image and build it out from there. The reason why I say this is because single image by far, hands down, is the #1 image or #1 ad type that every single advertiser uses. So it might take some experimenting to see what other types of ads work for your brand. Maybe your competitors haven't been using Canvas, for instance. Now your consumers are seeing these canvases. Maybe they like your brand more because they're seeing that higher affinity. There's so many different ways to fold it. So some companies do have highly visually engaging products or services. Maybe they don't even have good products or services, but maybe it's just the imagery that they're able to provide and create themselves is really, really good. It's high quality. So maybe these people want to test out that Facebook Canvas or the video ads. Other companies, for instance, may be more about the quality of the product or service and not kind of by, they might be better served by using these image ads or collection ads and allow that to speak for their brand. So this is kind of, I'll try and move me down a bit. So this is kind of, I'll say this is my kind of structure template, and my kind of thing that I suggest to everyone to start out using. And this really gives you the best kind of testing that's possible. So I do suggest running 2 different campaigns with 2 different objectives. So for instance, sometimes, for instance, I might see that an engagement style campaign gets me better results than a website click campaign. Sometimes I might not have enough conversions in place. So maybe that website traffic, website click campaign, I might be testing against a conversion campaign to see what runs better. The sky's the limit for what you want to test. But I do suggest running 2 different campaigns with 3 audiences per campaign and about 4 ads per audience. I'll move myself back up. So, So the reason why I want to run 2 different campaigns is I want to test those objectives. The reason why I want to run different audiences within these campaigns is I don't necessarily know what audience is going to work best for me. I don't want to put all my eggs into one basket. I want to spread that money out across 3 different audiences. And within 1 week, I should already see what audience is going to do best for me. And then I'll start pushing more money there and kind of start switching out the budgets between each audience. So for instance, I might start with, just to keep it simple, $2, $2, $2. All of a sudden I see audience 3 is working better. I might put $4 to audience 3, $2 to audience 2, and audience 1, it just hasn't been working well for us, so I'll just pause it. The reason between 4 ads into the 1 audience is, so just to clarify, each ad can be the same within each audience. You don't have to make 4 times 3, well, even 4 times 3 times 2. You really just need to make 4 ads, and they can go into each audience. The 4 ads is best practice to Facebook, and this is for multiple reasons. The biggest one is that, again, it doesn't put all our eggs into one basket. It allows us to serve multiple ads and really allow the algorithm to serve and give variation. It allows us to get better insights. So maybe ad 1 has a headline around our promotion where ad 2 doesn't have anything about promotion. All of a sudden we see the promotion works better, so we might want to kind of replicate that going forward. The 4 ads as well really allows Facebook the opportunity to serve different ads to different people. For me, for instance, maybe the headline, maybe the promotion in the headline isn't the best for me. Maybe I actually prefer the promotion in the image. Whereas someone else might actually prefer, they read the body copy first. So maybe they see that the promotion in the body copy means more to them. Having 4 ads allows the algorithm to serve the 4 ads to each individuals who it think might react the best to that ad version. So I do highly suggest to save this slide and refer to it in the future. And for exercise 3, we'll be mapping out our campaigns. We want to look into, our objectives. So for ad 1, what's the campaign name going to be? What objective? What kind of audience group? And go into what type of ads we want to run. Maybe single images are what your appetite's looking at. Maybe something around videos. And then to exercise 4, which is an add-on from the previous one, it really allows us to further flesh out what our campaign details and our strategy will be. So this, we'll kind of break it down into a bit more. We'll go into, okay, this is the audience, this is the objective, this is the campaign name, our ad set, what the ad is, even if it's just ad type. So, single image ad for now. And we can go into the imagery. Okay, well, it should be a female with a coffee, for instance. And we can start writing our copy out as well. Once we have all that, it's going to be super easy to start creating our campaigns. And it's time to create some ads.